Hey there, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. We have an update for you regarding the winter storm that's impacting the areas on Friday and Saturday in Kentucky. Obviously, not only in Kentucky, throughout much of the southern and central U.S., but in this video, we're going to obviously focus just on Kentucky here. So if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell. Let's get started in the information. Again, just a real simple video here. So we're going to show where we're at now, what the model data is kind of looking like, and we'll go on from there. Overall, though, looking at our weather-wise radar here, winter storm warnings and other wintry advisories blanket the entire, like I said, central U.S., southern U.S., eastern U.S., and so on and so forth. In Kentucky specifically, we do see winter storm warnings basically expanding the entire state. You see some different colors here because the radar software is picking up on two different watches or warnings and is trying to determine which color to put out there. So the colors are kind of mixing a little bit. Over here in eastern Kentucky, currently as we make this video here for you, no winter storm warnings active, but there is this winter storm watch that stretches all the way from northern Kentucky down toward the southern Kentucky portions of the area. I do expect that at some point after we post this video, that these areas will also be included in that winter storm warning. Now, I want to direct your attention to the HRW WRF-NSSL model. Big long name, but I've actually found this model to be quite accurate in the winter time frame. Typically, it's more of your severe weather model, but once again, it absolutely nailed our forecast for our last event on Sunday and Monday, and it was there before some of the other models, or I should say, while the other models were wobbling all around. And so I want to take a look at this once again here. So this does have our event starting. Let's go ahead and advance this on forward to about the Friday morning time frame here. So again, the time frame for starts looks to be 6 a.m. in Western Kentucky, 9 a.m.-ish in Central Kentucky, 11 a.m.-ish in Eastern Kentucky. Those are all Eastern time. And it does show off a bit of a dry slot at the beginning here. Of course, if you would take your imaginary part of your brain here, there should be a line basically from where the precipitation is up here to the precipitation down here. You can see gaps in between those. Now, those are pretty good evidence that a dry slot will initially occur, cutting down our totals by a potential ½ inch to 1 inch. If we see that dry slot fill in faster, obviously it could increase some of these snow totals. If we see the dry slot take longer to fill in, it could have the opposite effect and decrease some of these snow totals. So that's the reason for the ranges in your snowfall forecast. That's why no one can ever give you just a specific number to expect. We give you ranges because it takes into account little things like that. All right, advancing this on forward. You see that dry slot begins to fill in first for Western Kentucky, obviously, and then produces snowfall out in Central Kentucky, again by that late morning time frame, and then in Eastern Kentucky by the late morning time frame going into the early afternoon. And as this big red L starts to drift off east toward the Appalachian Mountains, we will have some dry slots occur, but west of those dry slots, you do also see the potential for some deformation banding to occur. Deformation banding is banding within a storm system, usually on the northwest or west side of a low pressure, that can briefly increase some snowfall totals as that banding starts to take place. All right, advance this on forward to late Friday. This is a valve for around the Friday 8 to 9 p.m. time frame. The dry slot occurs in central Kentucky, but look at the banding just to the west of the dry slot to make up for that dry area. All right, heavier snows ongoing closer to the low pressure out in southeastern Kentucky. That's why we have the higher range there. We'll show you our snowfall map here in just 1 second, by the way, as well. Advancing this on forward, those bandings start to tighten up a little bit as low pressure begins to drift off a bit more east. Eastern Kentucky, now the only people seeing snowfall at this time. This is, again, for late on Friday, going overnight into early Saturday morning. And then advance this on forward. And then on Saturday morning around 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern time, the snowfall actually moves entirely out of our state. So I'll show you the totals from this one model run. It is a bit hefty. We'll use the 10 to 1 ratio, but once again, I almost think using this Kuchera ratio is more appropriate for the system for some folks. I think, again, if you use it for looking at places north of the parkways, is a better idea. 10 to 1 ratio will be a better idea if you're looking closer to the Tennessee-Kentucky border, places like Bowling Green, places like Monticello, places, again, once again, along that Kentucky-Tennessee line. So once again, this model does show a wide swath of 4 to 6 inches of snowfall, and a heavier swath of maybe 6 to 8 inches down there toward that southeastern Kentucky portion of the area. And some random bandings or random isolated spots here, again, where that deformation band may occur, does try to show some 6 to 8 inch swaths within that. So again, this is the one model. I do want to show you our forecast at this point. And here's how that forecast looks. So we just put this out a little bit ago. This is the expected snow accumulation by Saturday morning. So once again, this is what's expected to be on the ground if you go out there and you measure any time on Saturday morning before melting begins to occur. If we see any melting to occur on Saturday morning, that is. 3 to 6 inches in that blue zone, basically along the parkways to points north: Owensboro, Elizabethtown, Lexington, Moorhead, Ashland, Owenton, Cynthiana, Louisville, Florence. All right. I do expect that maybe that northeastern corner of the state, just to the northeast of Cynthiana, out there toward Mount Olivet, going out there toward Carlisle. Those places may see a little bit closer to the bottom end of that range, while places like Elizabethtown and Owensboro, maybe just north of Danville, will be a bit closer to that higher portion of the range. All right, in that purple zone, 4 to 7 inches: Paducah, Hopkinsville, Madisonville, Bowling Green, Litchfield, Danville, Campbellsville, Somerset, Jackson, Pikeville, so on and so forth. And again, 4 to 7 inches, the expected range there. 5 to 8 inches if you're down there for Harlan, Monticello, again along that southeastern Kentucky corner of the state, going toward the Tennessee area or the Virginias at that point. 5 to 8 inches expected for you. Once again, we could expect some changes to occur. I do think some people will overachieve. I do think some people will underachieve. We're trying our best to figure out right now where that may occur. We'll only get a better idea of that as we get closer to the event actually starting. But nonetheless, make sure you check back to our Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube for updates. We actually have a live broadcast 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, January 9th, which is tonight, and we'll update you then on any changes that may have occurred over the next several hours. So I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for watching our broadcast here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell. We'll catch you guys next time.